Welcome back. It is Friday, and you know what that means. Friday transformation. So before you go ahead and kick it and get your self-care moments, you know Coach Mr. Adam wants to give you some tangible resources, some food for thought that you can chew on before you get those self-care moments. And today, because we are now in Mental Health Awareness Month, and because music is such a deep passion of mine, I told y'all before, it is part of my love language, who I am as a person. It is in my DNA, y'all, big time. And I've done a couple segments already around healing through music. And both segments, I was solo dolo. I did that by myself. That's how much I love music. I didn't bring nobody to it. I was like, these resonated with me. And the first one was about Chicago house music. Yeah, you heard it. Stand up for Chicago house music. That second one was about the power of gospel music and how it healed me, right? And today, I was like, what can I do on healing through music and resonates with me and bring someone in the space that I feel it resonates with them in a similar spirit? Because I already told you, music heals. Ain't no doubt about that. And when we talk about music, there is a genre out there that I feel overcomes and overshadows all, and that is hip hop, the universal language of the inner cities, the universal language of the poetic corner MC. Yeah, there's so many elements to hip hop, but today we're speaking about the music of hip hop and how it healed us. And, you know, when I thought about the guests that I can bring through, recently I met this amazing brother, and you saw him on the segment of partnerships through hard work. You saw that segment, and he talked about dream, create, inspire, and all the things he's done to put his passion for music that he was putting out there individually and creating community with that bad boy. My man got some music in his heart. Be more native. Yeah, you heard that, Baltimore native. I got Wayne Watts in the building today to come with me on this journey about healing through music. And part of healing through music, I feel music is so community driven. So I said, I can't do this third segment by myself. So, Wayne, you know the topic, man. You know what we're talking about today. What you got for us?
Mic check 1 2 2. We live. What's up, man? We in here, man. Thank you for having me. I'm excited, man. So we hopping in. We talking about hip hop, right?
Let's go. And you know, I think part of, you know, this conversation of like healing through music and how hip hop can heal in many ways, right? There's many lyrics that can speak to you that you can relate to, right? I think of different songs that I can tap into that the lyricism either connected to me in a related space of like, man, I'm going through that same exact shit,
Yeah.
right? And how it resonated for me. Like recently, I think this morning, I was playing DMX, I Miss You, song he wrote about his grandmother, right? And relating it more to my mother because it's one of those songs that just almost brings me comfort when I listen to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But beyond that, because I know that you love music so much and music is a big part of your life. And I feel like music has played a part, I'm assuming that music has played a part of your healing because I
Yeah.
know that you heal others with it, right? I guess I would love to hear your thoughts about how hip hop has healed you and how hip hop can heal others because music heals people, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think like hip hop to me has um healed, and also I would say like hip hop is has been an operating system for me. So like it does all of that in the sense of um all right, so when you think back in the day, right, you have like jazz cats, right? Like when like
Mhm.
there was a culture around jazz and it's bigger than the music. It's like what they were doing is like, hey, like we're not performing for y'all. Like, listen, we come in suited and booted, we come in fresh, we come in sophisticated, we come in such and such. But the slang that they would use and all this different type of thing, and then just the thought process that people would then use to then play music that's not pop. You learn like meaning in the sense of like simplistic chords. It's like the complexity. It's the master. Like jazz is like mastering complexity, right? So you
Sure.
have this own subset of what that represents and things like that. And then you got the ones that was in the doo-wop before and what that looks like coming off the stoop and the part here and like but like hip hop is has its own system of thinking that expounds upon those other ones because of how much we utilize it in day to day. You got hip hop professors, just like jazz professors, but you got, hip
Mhm.
hop cooks. I mean, you have hook like just in terms of like it's not just MCing. So I would say for me, um, I learned like positive self-talk through hip hop. Like because you heard like you had the what some would call braggadocious, others can call
Mhm.
self-affirming. So when you listening to the MC saying how good they were, yada yada type of thing, like you
Mm.
constantly fill yourself up with these positive quotes, right? We get that from other places, like Muhammad Ali's like the
Mhm.
is was an MC for you know what I'm saying? So you have like him and James Brown, but like thinking of what Muhammad Ali was saying to himself, the confidence that he
Sure.
used, and then you get that confidence in a Big Daddy Kane, you get that confidence in a Rakim, you get that confidence that then comes to a Jay-Z, you get that confidence that then hits here. Like so like I was then raised off of hearing positive self-talk to myself through lyrics, right?
Yeah.
In um different ages in our genre do it differently, right? So I think
Mhm.
like kids now, I think they have a more blues oriented flow to it. So you'll hear like the woes of what's going on, which is also good to be able to acknowledge. Like I think we didn't have as
Mm.
much vulnerability within it, right? So I think that part
Yeah.
for me, I was able to pick up the self-affirming stuff. But then as I dive deeper into
Mm.
my craft and I like started becoming an artist and um really finding out what my voice was,
Mm.
I had a chance to kind of hear what my actual affirmations were to myself. So like, and then my process of how I even create that. What do I need to do to be able to create that? Right? Because like you
Mm.
said, like some people say like product of environment, but it's like what you're around that then you take in to then create things. So for me, like if I'm going into a sauna in the morning at
Mhm.
5 o'clock in the morning and I'm meditating out loud around whoever's in there
Mhm.
because I'm practicing my self confidence of being if I can speak in a sauna with nobody knowing who I am
Yep.
consistently, send my prayers out. There's nothing I can't say for the rest of the day. You feel me?
For
And
sure.
once I go through my mantras of what I'm saying, like positive things,
Mm.
then ideas come melodically. And one of my
Mm.
favorite songs I've ever written is called "Thank You for Me," and
Mm.
it came from like seeing remember Snoop getting like interview. I mean Snoop winning an award, and he was like, man,
Mm.
I'm also thanking myself up here as well, right?
Yeah, he
Like I want
did.
to thank people for waking up and such and such. And people like you know what I
Mhm.
mean. You have to be able to thank yourself for it. So like I
Yeah.
was in and I came up with this melody. I was saying over and over again, and then connecting to vocalist. Shout out to Brianna Ye. Shout out to Renika Cox on keys. They then um, did that musically, so transmuted what I was feeling into chords,
Mm.
and now I can then like talk positively about myself around certain things through it, and then I
For
have a
sure.
verse that to me just reminds me. I woke up this morning like thank you for me, baby. You know
Hey.
what I'm saying so like you know what I mean like I'm able to say in
Yeah.
there it's time to rain like Corey now. Like I pain for my joy now. Hard work works. That's the story now. I think I learned to
Mm.
flip shame into glory now. Thank you for me, but I
Mm.
thinking like your shame, what could be
Yeah.
seen as shame is also can also be seen as glory. Like
Mhm.
the process of how I make music um is rooted in being able to identify positive things to say to myself. And in my day and time when I came up, the people that was doing that the most was rappers. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, you said a lot there. So I want to unpack a few things real quick there, Wayne. First, I love that you said that it gave you positive self-thought thinking, right? Like, which is like different from the perception, the outside looking in perception that people will give hip hop. They might think it doesn't have much positive, or like it has this focus, right? And like you, I found that same positive talk as well,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
also
man.
found, I also found revolutionary talk too through some MCs, all right? But
Yeah,
like that positive talk that made me think differently and not like conform to maybe the factory of folks that were in my neighborhood, right? And
yeah,
nothing wrong with the factory of folks in my neighborhood, meaning that I saw that some people will run with some of those things and just almost mimic it. But when it came to the positive stuff you're talking about, they wouldn't mimic it at all. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do. I mean, I think, yeah, yeah, I don't know if I have a different take. I feel like
Yeah.
it, it's there's different vibrations and frequencies that hit people at different times.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know what that journey was for the ones that was on what you know what I mean. Like they had their own
Hmm.
different journey. You get it when you get it. It may not come through hip hop on that. It may come through a gospel song to them on that. It may come through a word. It may come through such and such. So like you mentally using the music for different things. Like so let's say all right, like yo, if I got a game, if I used to hoop too, right? So like all right, well I'm hooping. I remember like putting on It's Bone and Busy. I mean It's Bone and Biggie. Then Dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. Straight up, we know Angel Dust
Yeah.
with us, notorious. Thug ass niggas that love the bus, it's strange to us. Y'all niggas be sampling. Like, but that, like,
Yep.
it's not. And he was talking real stuff in that verse as well, too. But like the energy
Yeah.
of it on him, like, is what I needed to take into to
To get you there.
process it, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I was going to that to like hoop to get ready to play basketball, but now
Yep.
that's a positive thing physically. So you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So even if I'm listening to yada yada and okay, like it may not exhibit this way, but maybe I'm doing that and I'm in the gym and I'm boxing, I'm still using it
Yeah.
different. So I know what you mean. Like you had ones it's like, yo, I'm doing this, I'm all oodie whoop. But I think sometimes it's because the music got a chance to tell serve as and I say a mirror, but the music got a chance to tell a story of what was already happening. So it was
Hmm.
resonating with the spirit of like it's this is my life. You feel me? So
Yep.
like I'm not like
Yeah.
portraying yada yada. Yo, just rapping with the you know what I mean that type of thing. And that's why
Hmm.
I'm putting it. So it can be seen different ways for real. For real.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted you to say, Wayne. It's that different vibes and frequency, and I completely agree with you because that question was definitely in the space of saying of getting us to a space of like identifying that everybody's going to connect, feel right,
Yeah,
love that music in the way they need to wherever they're at, wherever it's met. Like for me, it was De La Soul, right? It was the Jungle Brothers. But for my cousin, it was Easy E. It was different groups, right? And what was for them at that time was for them. And
yeah,
I end up like catching up to them because I end up going back listening to Easy, right? It was one of those things, and I completely agree with you on that. You mentioned something about lyrics, and I am a lyric person, man. I love me some lyrics. I mean, the beat is obviously important, but man, lyrics to me are like what you put on a canvas,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's kind of what I look at lyrics. Like it's a blank canvas. Let me go and throw some lyrics on this canvas. And with lyrics and the healing through music and hip hop does it well. There's obviously different songs, and I said it earlier that resonated with me, that brought me to a different place. When I think of positive thought music, I think of Umi Says by Mos Def, right? That's one of those tracks that always, like as soon as it comes on, I'm at least play it twice. I'm at
Yeah.
least like run through
I
it,
don't want to
bring
write
it back.
this down. I want the world to feel now.
You
I
know what I'm
need
saying?
yeah, no, as soon as it come
Yeah.
on,
And you know what? I relate to it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying, Wayne? For
yeah,
you, because you are someone who curates lyrics,
yeah,
curates music, right?
yeah,
Puts movements together with it, and you are a true hip hop head, if I can say that as well,
yeah,
right? What are some lyrics, some songs that really maybe were pinnacle parts of your life? And these lyrics maybe brought you through those moments, right? And brought you to the next chapters, to your next frequencies, to your next moments, right? But there were songs that maybe like how you kind of use that same thing with the Biz, the Bone Thugs and
Yeah,
Biggie track, right?
yeah,
That has a cadence to it that's gonna
yeah.
make you move faster. It's gonna make you kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna give you that energy because that cadence is so on point, and then the beat matches that cadence perfectly, right?
Um,
Those
yeah,
drums
yeah,
slightly sit behind the cadence of the instrumental, the
yeah.
actual, right? So in saying that, are there some songs that kind of like, in your maybe your moments that weren't so positive, and that positive thought music came back into your life and said, "I'm here for you, Wayne. I got you." Was there anything in
So
your life like that?
yeah, I think at different stages of my life, there's different records. So I think I'm gonna work backwards instead of working from the
Let's
other
go.
way because it's probably
Let's go.
easy to do that for me. So currently, when I feel that, I put on La Russell. So
Okay.
like La Russell's energy reminds me of my energy, but
Mm,
also it reminds me, our energies remind me of early hip hop before they were record.
mm.
When you were going to see Grandmaster Caz. This predates my actual time, but what people
Okay.
have told me from like you know what I'm saying, older cousins, people in the neighborhood told me of what that
Yeah.
time represented. Like, when you going to go see Grandmaster Caz or the Furious Five, like it wasn't
Yep.
necessarily on the record that they made. It's like you wanted to go and experience that energy. So
Hmm.
Russell's music and what he does from that. So it's a record called Blockchain. It's like nine on the dresser. That's what I deal with the pressure. We keep it moving for desperate wretches. This is high octane. GC hoodie, let the cross man. So much flavor, I got a clock thing. But like the whole energy of everything going on,
Mm.
like uh it just the chorus it just remind me to tap it, and then he growls in the record, and I've heard him like it's less on the he has a recorded version of like in the studio, but he has so many versions live of him performing it, so it's
Yeah.
really the when he do that, it's like yo, you can get any nah, keep your energy. So it reminds me just to keep my energy when I'm low. So that would stop that. Boom. If I go a little bit before that, I would say Nips Hustle and Motivate.
Mm.
Um when it comes on, because it's sampling the J Hard Knock Life with sample
Yeah.
Annie. You know what I mean? Hustle and Motivate. You know what I'm saying? And it's a
Yeah.
also him and Bino have a project together, and the song's called Skr. It's like Skr. You know what I mean? It's like it's a long story. I've been busy working. I never seen these type of niggas that encourage coming from where I come from. Like that is all in the lyrics and all that type of stuff. Like those two records from Nip, I can put on, or
Mm.
dedication from Nip with Kendrick. So then okay, now I'm gonna go a little bit. Boom, I would say Kendrick's Mama on Pimp a
Okay.
Butterfly.
Yeah.
Um, and it
Okay.
like because it's like a deep dive into like I see how these things work. And I love myself. And when you looking at me, you put that
Yeah.
one on those
I
on
love
that
that
record right
track,
there.
yo.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut, but how much I be looking at you
Uh-huh.
from the like those that's on all right, but like all right, I love myself and mama on that project
Hmm.
right there.
Yep.
I'll go over to Cole. So Cole, um, no such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such
Hmm.
thing. No such thing. Heart beating fast.
Yeah.
A nigga know that he alive. Like, but that right there, just I don't know. It's something about it what makes me like think about life. Like
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like reflecting on things. I'm gonna go back a little bit further. I'll say
Yeah.
chances, blessings.
Okay.
It's like Chance the Rapper's blessing on
Mm.
there. Off of coloring book. Just in
Hmm.
terms of I speak to God in public. I speak to God in public. He think my new shit jam. I think we mutual fans. I used to rap in high school. I used to, but that like that whole thing. Are you ready for
Oh,
your
yeah.
turn? Um, it's a Smino record as well too on his one of his projects. That's still on this side. But it's a Smino record that I rock with as well too that does that. So that's like I'm going this way because these are the ones
Yeah,
I still feel an energy connection to at this point in time. If I'm going
for sure.
further back, I'm gonna say like Jay, turn my music high, high, high,
Mm.
high. Yeah, you don't know what you do to me. I'm
Yeah.
the streets for the hood for swallowing man, bullets are following man. Like, but when he get into the, you are now looking at one smart black boy. Mama ain't
Hmm.
raised no, put me anywhere on God's green earth, and I triple my worth like that right there.
Yeah.
Like sits, and then also in the freeway in them. Even though what we do is wrong, we still hustle when the
Yeah.
sun comes up. Crack a 40 when the sun
Uh,
goes down. It's a cold young nigga
yeah, I know
better
what you talking
buckle
about.
up. And I better, you know what I'm saying? Like when that come on, that like you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah, yeah,
so
man.
that dream Meeks dreams and nightmares somewhere before like on this side on the closer to you know what I mean. I used to pray for times like this. The rhyme like so I'm thinking the
Yeah.
ones I put on there like really you know what I'm saying do that for me. Um, and then if I'm going like early, um, it's the hard knock life for
Huh?
me because it's
Yeah.
like the first guy I ever like freestyled over in the basement.
Hmm.
So I like that part. Can't knock the hustle off for reasonable doubt.
For sure.
Um, yeah, I went through those ones. I'm missing other records, but like these are ones that I would say like
Mm.
I can go to and listen to, and it took me somewhere else.
For sure,
Um,
man. Yeah.
and Common, my bad, and Common's B, the intro to B, the
Okay.
do 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 do
Yeah.
do 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 do, like the
Yeah. I
rest
know
of
you're
these,
talking
yeah,
about.
I just want to be like that one, like
Dun,
how,
dun,
how that,
dun, dun,
yeah,
dun,
yeah,
dun, dun. Oh, come on.
yeah, like,
All right. So one, you just proved my point because when you started going through your list, your whole body changed, your language, your whole body language changed. You right, like
happened
your
to it.
spirits were right.
Hey, yeah, I mean, we went from a
Your
conversation to a
yeah,
conversation to something different. You know what I mean?
yeah, man, and your spirits just got so uplifted. So it was like proven fact, like music just hitting you. So as you were going through your list, I love all those. I definitely gotta get up on some La Russell, all the other
Yeah,
ones I'm familiar with. But I love them all, man, and they all kind of like give me a certain memory. And as I was thinking about ones that resonated for me, being a different hip hop class per
yeah.
se from your age group.
Yeah, what's the ones you got? Yeah, what's the ones
Yeah,
that
man. Yeah, I would say Goody Mom, my mama. Man, my mama. Boom, boom, boom. Man, that beat, the organ, everything on that thing is fire. And it always reminds me of my mom's. Karis One is my favorite MC. He's my top MC. Him and Rakim used to be tied, but Chris is my guy. And he has a few tracks that just really resonate. One is Health is Wealth. We're not gonna need nothing else but health, wealth, and knowledge of myself. Man, that one right there always reigns.
yeah,
And then he has the one higher level. Let me take you to a higher level. Boom. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, bam, bam. It's a DJ Premier beat.
yeah.
He
Like
Man, he
tap in.
snatched title from the title, take the title from the Bible. We can't live there. Man, he rips that shit on some whole nother level. He's
Yeah,
recording it at 3 in the morning in D&D Studios, which is a historic studio. So
yeah.
that's one. And then one, I'm gonna throw an underground MC, just for my folks who love some underground MCs. There's a cat out of Boston. His name is Abstract. And have you ever heard of him? Abstract.
I'm not sure.
Abstrakt. I think is how he spells it. Dope.
Yeah,
Underrated. He should
yeah,
he should definitely be out there more.
yeah.
And he has a song called Kindred Spirits or Kindred Souls. I think it's
Okay.
Kindred Souls. Chuck D opens it up and he basically talks about the timeline between slavery and Hurricane Katrina.
Ooh,
Man, that
yeah,
song. Yep.
yeah. I'm
And
at.
one more. I'll give you one more. Another underground MC. My boy Blue.
Oh,
Blue.
Blue Exile.
Yeah,
Yeah,
below the heaven,
yeah. Below the
below the
Heavens is a
heaven.
classic. It's a
Man,
classic. Yeah,
that is my, him and J. Cole kind of remind me of each other.
yeah.
Like
He
they,
like,
right? So,
oh yeah, yep, yeah.
yeah, but The Narrow Path. He has a song called The Narrow Path. Man, that shit, every time it comes on, I gotta like crank it up a little more. His flow is steady. As you said, that album is a classic. Like I put that album, not it's like this to Illmatic to me, right?
It's very slept on because like sonically quick to it,
Exile.
strong.
Exile.
I mean, yeah, Exile like really they were tapped in. They were that was like that
Yep.
LeBron and D-Wade poster when you throwing the ball up. It's like that. Like it was that
Yeah.
two man was
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, it puts me to the point here. We got about like 5 or 10 minutes here in our segment.
Yeah,
It makes me think of like we're talking about like how it healed us, music that came through our life at a time that did something for us. I mean, you demonstrated the uplifting powers of music just by explaining it. I also know that you're a musician and
yeah.
you pump out music, right? And you love music. Have you had folks come to you, Wayne, in the space of like, hey, your song really helped me get through something? Your song, you know what I'm saying? Because I know I
Yeah.
have in the past some of my poems, some of my things like that that resonated with someone, and they came to me maybe a couple years later and was like, man, I was thinking about that poem, public schools, and it made me think of my journey with school. And you know what I'm saying? And have
Yeah.
you had some of that in your life? I don't want to assume or not assume, right? But like, I guess, what are
I
your
have.
thoughts about that? Your work that heals others.
I think. I think. All right. So like, um, Nikki Giovanni's one of my uh gurus. Rest in peace to the legend. Legends never really die. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Hmm.
and I remember her saying like, um, it's dope that people do that, but remember that you wrote it for yourself, and it's cool if people pick it up, right? So like, I want to preface that is that I like that when I write for myself and I rock with it, I rock with it. If other people rock with it, it's cool. It's cool to see it, but remembering like I get extra satisfaction because I know that it wasn't necessarily just written for somebody else. And I was talking about this here from some my
Yeah.
recent, you know what I'm saying? But the places like that have happened at like it's a song called Check on Your Friends, where like my
Mm.
actual friends was like, yo, I get you, I understand what you said, like saying on that. Like and
Mm.
then also other people at performances like, man, you actually made me want to call I called my friend right after this because of that, right? And it was really a mental health check. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Be careful, new legends. I know that you're smart. Before you leave your peers, let's be clear. We needed to talk. Had a whole lot of light,
Okay.
but it wasn't a whole lot of dark. There's a whole lot of bullshit, a whole lot of oats with a whole lot of sharks. In the memory of all of
Mm.
my fallen homies, hey, check on your friends. But I'm speeding it up. But like, check on your
Yeah.
friends and
Yeah.
that part. And then I would say one of my across the street from heaven, people have told me they've played when they lost somebody. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
like so to have that be like a song to grieve, have express grief to, means a lot
Yep.
to me. And then I wrote a love song called oh man, I just drew a blank on my song for her for Love is Amazing. Love is
There you
Amazing with
go.
the legendary Brianna Ye. And that
Okay.
was that was at a wedding. So somebody
Mm.
sung that at a wedding, and to have a song walk down the aisle and be a part of
For
somebody's
sure.
soundtrack, love soundtrack is like very special to me.
Mm.
I wrote a song about my daughter before my daughter came.
There you
Favorite
go.
song, and having that be a song that like I was able to express with
Hmm.
her and her mother like is another one. So yes, I mean all of that. My like you know what I'm saying. So yes, it's really dope to have that happen. Um, and it's also really dope that those songs I cared about because,
Mm.
being an MC,
Yeah.
um, some of this can get wicked in the sense of people like, oh, you love that song. Like, actually, I don't love that song. I had to do it under this time crunch at this time
Yeah.
here. it was X amount of time on the studio, blah blah. I
Hmm.
actually don't own the song, so like blah blah. So you have, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you be like, oh, like honestly, like you'd be
Yeah,
surprised how
yeah,
many people don't like songs in their catalogs that they do.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just
Hmm.
want to preface that and say like part of my healing in terms of music is having ownership,
Mm.
my feelings of how I feel with my art too. So yeah,
Yeah, man. No, I love that. I love that, Wayne. And I guess I wouldn't expect anything less on that answer because that's a true artist answer. And I think of when I first started writing, initially writing, it started with graffiti. Well, it started with breaking. That was the first element I tapped into with hip hop. And then I started doing graffiti. And then I started writing and I started writing. I think graffiti led me into the space because I was going through some things. So it was an outlet. Um, and then I started writing because I was homeless as a teen. And hip hop just really touched me at that point. And everything that I was writing was because I was going through it. Right. So when I had songs like Manic Depressive, Check My Mentality, Planet Science, I was in a space where all these things, these titles, one of my biggest tracks, Struggle Child. It was a document of what I was going through in my life. And I wrote that not for like, because at that time there was no views. There was no such thing as that right there. I wrote it because I needed to get it out of my heart. I needed to get it out. And once I heard it and it was fully developed, I was able to heal myself. I was able to say, okay, I let that bad boy go. That one came out my
yeah,
heart and my mind. As a
yeah,
writer, that was me, right? That's how I kind of like finesse my own self counseling. I
yeah,
was like, I'm gonna counsel this shit with a pen and a pad and get it
yeah.
out, right? And you always have other songs that might not be like you said, like not your favorite. And I felt like a lot of those were my filler songs. They weren't, even though they were from my mind, they probably weren't fully from my heart.
Heart,
But when my
yeah, yeah,
heart, when
yeah,
my heart led that writing, and the mind just
yeah.
kind of played,
That's just
the
different. That's
the
different.
background,
Mhm.
right? Then it was
Yeah,
like,
that's
oh,
different.
but you're right. I think when I was initially writing, to going back to what you were saying, it was not about the people we were taking in. It was about me on that process. The beautiful thing of that is that as I got older and and as I mentor different people in the power of mentorship mixed with hip hop and music, I didn't have my music career because I decided to be a father. I let it go because I was like, I want to be a father, right? And through that process, I felt like I lost out on some healing, but I filled my cup with being a father. The excitement of that, the embracing, because I'm a fatherless child, Wayne. So for me, I wanted to be a father before I wanted a career, right? Because when you miss out on something like that, and mom's was pop, she did an amazing job. You want to fulfill that in your own way. You see how like this is what I'm going to do with that. So I'm saying that as I was doing that and going about that, I let it go because I wanted to be a father. But then I started going into the camping world, the outdoor world, and running camps. And I reconnected that love because all my kids love music. So what I did was I started creating community service weekends at camp where I bring about 30 teens to camp and we make mixtapes. And I saw it heal them,
Yeah,
right? Even if it was for the 8 hour session we were doing,
yeah,
right? It was this space of like an escapism, a space of freedom,
yeah,
a space where they were like disconnected from Chicago.
yeah,
And we were in the middle of Wisconsin, in the middle of the woods, recording hip hop
yeah,
and like uniting, right?
yeah,
And it wasn't just like, the community service was just a decoration to the real project, right? We did community service because that's what we did.
yeah,
But the real project was putting together this music and letting these emotions out. So in saying that, I guess, and I wanted to get your thoughts because I see you nodded a lot on it. In that process of music and the way it goes about and the different ebbs and flows, right? There's tracks that can touch you and make you feel inspired, make you get geeked and ready to go, right? There's some make you put you in a mellow mood, make you nostalgic, right? In that sense, through your whole process of taking in music, delivering music, right? You eat, breathe, and sleep it, Wayne. What would you say is the most healing part of music, in your own opinion? Not for the general masses, for Wayne's thoughts.
Um, you can communicate with anything,
Mm,
anytime, any space. It's uh it's really limitless. So you can channel different energies, be as creative or imaginative if you want to be, or as explicitly realistic as you want to be. Um, and I would say, to the point what you said earlier, and you hear my energy change because I'm really thinking about what you just said in terms of like being like choosing to be a father actively and being like, okay, I'm gonna put the music down. I'm a little bit different. I'm very grateful to be active in a era that allows me to do both and see it done. So I think I like the Toby and Igwe's who have all their kids. Like it was the the era of like, yo,
hmm
this rap shit is for like
Yep.
no no kids, no wives, no partners. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, but it's not that way anymore. Now it's like the holistic you can be within those spaces. So my daughter is at my shows and we're my daughter does rap, right? We go back and forth and say our affirmations in the morning and make things
Okay.
wish. Be able to like talk with my daughter using music to understand different concepts of life and teachings and things like that.
Mm,
Um, from while she was in the belly. You know what I'm saying? Like
no
on
doubt.
now. And that's why I said like the limitless of it, where like you're singing into the like I just remember like singing and we didn't have a name. And I'm like, what's your name, baby girl? What's your name? What's your name, baby girl? What's your name? It means power. This before we had the name. It means power. It means love. It means energy, instantly, infinitely, all of the above. And then to have a daughter that really means that for if you see it, all of those things. Like you just saw earlier, we started taping, right? You get all
Yep.
of that there. So now when we
Yeah,
on stage,
man.
I'm like, what's your name, baby girl? What's your name? And she'll be like, it's Aya J, baby girl, Aya J. Like, so, you know what
I
I'm
love
saying?
that.
That way, that's the best way I can describe it from one lens. So that's like from now
Mm,
to the future of what that represents, and then from the past, like on one of my other most heartfelt records, it's called Just a Kid Over West, and it's really a blues record. And I got my grandfather and my uncle who passed away. My grandfather before he passed away, and then my like he was still alive when I made that song. My uncle had passed away before, but I got both of them in voice memos in this song. And like for what that talks about, my grandfather in the skit before is talking about like, yo, he grew up off a big man. So I mean, he was going to the Royal Theater for like
yeah, man.
15 cents, seeing Duke Ellington, Count Basie. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like, so he's like
Yeah.
basically saying, all this stuff y'all making now, man, it don't phase me, man. I had this. So to be able to like talk to him and talk here, like, and see both of those when I'm performing and really
Mm,
have those memories, but also be in conversation with those memories and those manifestations that way. You know what I'm saying?
no doubt.
Like, yeah, that's the long-winded answer, but that's what music is. You know what I'm saying to me, yo? Like, yeah,
Yeah. No, and I know that answer obviously came from your heart as well. You took some time to ponder on it. And I love that, man. I appreciate the words in that because I think, when I think of like the most powerful healing parts, for me, I think
yeah,
it goes in a line with the first four you mentioned, right? The freedom to speak explicitly, the freedom to pen a message the only way you want it and the way you want to hear it. There's, we spoke about like the Bone Thugs and Biggie track and the cadence, right? I think of those moments that a certain cadence that I just decide at some split moment to
Uh-huh.
enter is really the part of the song that smacks people across their heart in a great way, right?
Yeah.
And it was because for that split moment, my creativity said, "Don't spit it like that. Throw some up and down on that one, you know." And I think that's the beautiful thing of just the artistry of music. And I know that we're specifically, speaking hip hop, and I feel like I got to bring you back just to talk about some other genres,
Yeah.
and kind of magnify it a little bit. But we're at the end of our segment here. We usually do a one-two tangible resource, and I want to flip the script because I
Yeah.
feel like we freestyling a little bit. I'm like, let's flip the script, and I want to say, let's do a one-two recommendation track, one from your catalog,
Yeah.
one from your catalog, and I know that's hard because you
Yeah.
got a pretty deep catalog. One from your catalog that you feel in your own way, provides that healing. You listen to
Oh,
this one's great for you. And maybe one that's not from your catalog that you're
yeah.
like that is your go-to, that you feel like this is a recommendation. Check this track out. If you haven't heard it, this is why you should hear it. What would be those two tracks for Wayne?
Easy. One for me would be Morning Star, number 18. And it's like I said, slept on one of mine because I didn't overly promote it, but I was going through. I don't know if have you heard of Morning Pages before? Have you heard of The Artist Way? The book called The Artist Way? All
Uh,
right, bet. So like it's this book called, matter of fact, hold up. I gotta hear you. So like shout out to them. You know what I mean? Boom. It's
okay.
blurred. But anyway, long story short, short story long, The Artist
Yeah,
Way.
yeah.
But one of the things when that was like um journaling and do morning pages. So first thing you do, wake up, you write 3 pages without thinking about it, and it's getting all the gunk out your head. So I made a project called Morning Pages based off of like getting all the gunk out my head, going on a walk, what came to me, blah blah. But that song is all filled with like the most purest of self affirmations over a span of like 2 weeks that all poured and dumped and downloaded into me. So it's like all of them in one big dose. You know what I'm saying? So like
Uh-huh.
that for me. And then what I receive, so if that's what I gave out and I use for myself as well too. The other one is Lucky by Tish and La Russell. But it's a big just one big affirmation. Got air in my lungs. I'm so lucky. I got food on my plate. I'm so lucky. Got love in my life. I'm so lucky. I know my
Hey,
latitude is based off my attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like it got
yeah,
that would be one I would say for right now.
for sure. No, I love
Also,
those records. I'm gonna check those out, man. My
yeah,
two, I'm gonna throw
yeah.
two at you as well.
Yeah.
Pete Philly and Perquisite. They're a group out of Amsterdam. The song is called Believer. Pete Philly and Perquisite. The song is called Believer. The second one, man, because I've been spinning a bunch of stuff lately.
From you
Second
though,
one,
from your catalog though.
for my
Yeah,
catalog. Okay, all right,
yeah.
all
You
right.
said 1 and 1. Yeah, no, yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
We
I,
gotta
I
plug
haven't
this
shared
right time.
I haven't shared it with you. Once She Was Sacred, and on that track, I'm talking about hip hop. So, that one, the beat, the when I penned it, I really felt it in my heart. I think I hit my wall with hip hop at that moment, and I penned a little love letter, a little heartbreak love letter to hip hop right quick. And and part of it was like, when I thought of like the Once She Was Sacred piece, right? Once She Was Sacred, heavenly presence plus the fragrance of a
Yeah.
goddess. She was fragile with her presence and the
Mm,
essence. Conscious rhymes up in the session. She concentrates, she motivates on a higher lesson.
yeah.
Taught to use her mind for protection. Her mind is a weapon. You
Mm.
see where I'm going with it?
I
Once She
see.
Was Sacred, right? And it really, I picked that one out of all mine because that one I was able to grab it in music form and spit it on a beat. And I
Yeah.
was also able to transform it into poetry form and do it in poetry, right?
Yeah.
It was one of those jams that it lived in both spaces, but
Mm.
also, it was in a moment of heartbreak. I was a little disappointed in hip hop. I didn't make my music career happen in the way I wanted
What
to,
year
right? So
was
there
that?
was
I wanna. What years? I know we going over some. We over. You know what I mean? But like, what like? Because I want to know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. What year was that? made that for
Yeah,
you?
man.
Describe what that was like
That
for you to come up with that. You know what
Yeah,
I
that
mean?
was 90, man, 1990, around
Yeah.
1991, man, where it was all, where you felt like the work you put in was all done and you did the shows, you put in the time,
Yeah.
you have the music, you have the gifts, right? And I was at a point where in the beginning my music wasn't making my hair stand up. It wasn't giving me goosebumps. So I didn't roll it out until I felt that, till it gave me goosebumps, right? And when I wrote Once She Was Sacred, it wasn't goosebumps. It was almost turning it away.
You was
And I was
angry.
like, yeah, I was like, what happened to all this? What happened to you? You used to be
Yeah.
sacred in so many ways, girl. I got over it. Because then
Yeah.
after that, I wrote Exceeding My Princess Values, which was
Mm.
the part two to Once She Was Sacred, right? And now it was pedestal for me, right? It was like, so I gotta break both. We gotta connect, Wayne, and break both of those downs. We need to get back, and connect on some hip hop music. But
Yo,
in
you got to
all,
do a
man,
breakdown on one of these shows, or like, because I think like the part of like hip hop that we doing is like excavating
yeah, man,
uh the tracks and what makes up such and such to do that
for
because like
sure.
that, and I said in the other segment I did there, like when you do that you
Yeah.
find what's the real issue that you had, and then also you find that like um hip hop isn't just music like we said before in the beginning of it, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
you then find it's an operating system. So if it's an operating system, everything kind of falls into it. You then
Mm.
find what other technique you can do,
Yeah,
i.e.,
man.
motivational speech, i.e., teaching, yada yada,
Yep.
to get When She Was Sacred off. So like I started it as a song. Now this is an initiative. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
This is a
yeah.
funded initiative that then flips into a yada yada. So now it's like I'm getting a piece of When She Was Sacred and
Yeah,
the
man.
song in this conversation that we have on your platform right now. And that's you know what I'm saying?
Man.
That's the beauty
Yeah.
of making records like that because you start talking about those sacred moments of when it was how you felt it was, and you realize
Yeah.
it never really went away. It's just
Mm-mm.
it ain't
Yeah.
go.
And see that's why I appreciate you, brother. That's why I wanted to do this music segment. And you just gave me we might have to like, bring some of your tracks and some of my tracks and come on the segment and do a little bit of excavation.
Yeah,
Breaking them
man. Listen,
down,
listen.
you
If you want
know.
to do what's the name of shit a playlist of this as well too. So we want to have like a playlist where we put our stuff
Hell
in.
yeah.
So
Hell
listeners
yeah.
that's watching this can kind of like go through, and it could be the ones that we talked about because we
For sure.
represent errors in it as well
Yeah.
too. So I think that part
Yep.
of it, the multi generations rocking with these, I think that's a really important. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I try to champion. I don't say champion. I try to remember that as much as I can, um, because sometimes in our art form, and I put this here, sometimes in our art form, like we have a propensity to think that the way that we said it was the only way for it to be said, and then whatever comes after us, we're like, nah, they not real. Because I went through that moment as well too. That's why I asked you because I remember that was
Mm-hmm.
the year 1990 was
Yeah.
my 2006, 2007. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? 2008, where I'm like, man, this is what y'all on. This is what, come on, yo. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I made a song called Used to Love Hip. It was my playoff for Carmen's Used to Love Her. Used to love
Uh-huh.
hip hop. Around that time I hit my way of saying that. And then I realized
Mm.
the um the limited I'll say limited. I realized the immaturity of my feeling at that time. Like I needed to name my feelings. So like my homegirl, like do therapy. We talking about therapy, right? So like
Yeah.
my homegirl wrote down one thing like between her and my homeboy it was like name your feelings. So like call them friends.
Mhm.
So like if you feel angry, like don't get angry or ashamed of angry. Write your feelings out and be like, "Hello, old friend. Why are you here?" You say, like, which one are you? Oh, you
So,
resent. Why? Hey,
mm,
resentment. You showed up because, oh, you showed up on this because you feel that like all this talent that you know people been telling you can do when you MCing in
mhm,
Chicago and me and
yep,
Baltimore, blah, blah, blah. You think
yep,
being neglected and not seen for people who haven't put in the same amount of work and the same amount of love for it and blah, blah, blah. So
yeah,
that's why you're here for me. You came to protect me. I feel you.
yeah,
Thank you for coming to protect me. But I don't need you here now. Now I have other outlets to get this out, platforms, initiatives to such and such, a more
mm,
critical lens to assess, hey, there's multiple ways to do this. It's really about the yada yada. And boom, I
mhm,
appreciate you showed up because you let me know something was here. I don't need this from you right now. I need you somewhere else. You feel me? I didn't have that type of language in there, so I make it.
yeah,
But at that
mhm,
time, that song then gives me a chance because there's certain stuff I've said in my music where I don't feel that way anymore too, and I like being able to
mhm,
look and be like, yeah, I was wrong. Like you know what I'm saying? Like not necessarily that song, but it's you made songs before where you was like, actually,
yeah,
or like stuff
yeah,
you know what I mean. You say something you're like, actually, I was more right than I thought. I didn't realize I was that right. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, to the
that's
healing
true.
of what you do,
Yeah,
I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I had a similar time and I had to rediscover what that was and then go back to people's
mm,
catalogs that I listened to before I was like being snobbish or whatever it was towards their stuff and being
mhm,
like, oh, that's what was there. Or it may not necessarily be for me, but that was, and I would be boxed into this one thing. So like, I mean, and it presents itself every X amount of years because music changes, the evolving changes, hard to manipulate. Right
it
now we got crash
does.
out music, right? So like I gotta put it out like you got crash out and beat. So
Mhm.
you got like crash out and blues. So you got kids singing melodically
Yeah, you're
about
right.
out. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep,
right before them was drugged out music. So next before that was like I'm high and such. That's like it
yep,
transitioned like I will shoot this whole thing up and I'm sad. You know what I'm saying? And it
mhm,
sound good,
yep,
but like I gotta look and see, okay, in this, they're telling a real story. They are also
yeah,
hitting there. This used to matter, but it doesn't matter anymore. And
mhm,
what it's really saying, and what is that really doing? And the
mm,
ones that mature out of it and have the like not say mature out of it, but like evolve, they'll have these programs and initiatives that come from really real world
mhm,
experiences that can change the world because it was right before they crashed out.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? So like
yep,
it gives you the mindset of somebody about to crash out. So somebody can give you the mindset of I'm about to crash out and they don't crash out
mm,
and you're gonna get a whole nother healing journey from the almost
mm,
crash. So, you
yeah.
know what I mean? I know I went left, you know what I mean? But I'd
Oh,
be
I
remiss.
love it, man. I love it, Wayne. And I think part of this healing through music segment, with a focus on music and the way it heals us and helps us, right? And just the powers of it, beyond just the healing components, really speaking to the positivity it gives us, the happiness, right? The nostalgic feelings it gives us sometimes. When you mentioned that Jay-Z track, right? We both heard it when that beat dropped, right? Right? You know it. So in saying that, brother, I really appreciate this time. This segment was all about speaking of music and the way it heals us, and part of this platform on who's helping you heal. And because it's Friday, right? Because it's Friday, and we want you to get your self-care moments in this weekend. We wanted to give you some food for thought before you kick it on your weekend and get those self-care moments. So Wayne, big ups to you for coming through. We're gonna bring Wayne back on another segment. We're gonna have to do some excavation of music and things that resonate with us in that music space. Because I've been looking for a music companion on my segments, and Wayne, I feel like I found one in you, man. So I appreciate you, brother.
I'm with it. I'm with it all the way. I appreciate this all the way, man. Appreciate you having
Yeah,
me on.
for sure. And audience, as you know, please like, subscribe, comment. That's how you continue to get these videos and all these gems and all these great messengers that I bring through the space. So you know what my last words are for the whole crew, for my audience, and before you kick it on this weekend. Who's helping you heal, y'all? Peace.